Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of J. Lamar Thursday Thoughts and Tips for a Real Life Reset. Today we're going to talk about something that's near and dear to the three individuals here's heart. Welcome back to another one of our episodes where we challenge perspective, we inspire growth, and encourage intentional actions that lead to lasting transformation. Today I have two amazing individuals joining me here. I consider them friends as well as family, as definitely colleagues. And I'd like for this time to have you all introduce yourself. And if you will, Miss Karla Powell, tell us who you are, what it is you do.
My name is Karla Powell. I am a financial strategist with CEO Life. And I've been in the industry for it's going to be 2 years now. Mm-hmm. And one of the reasons why I joined is because I know as growing up as a little girl, even in high school and all the accolades that I got as a student, no one taught me how to manage money. And I needed to know how to manage money. We came through life just winging it pretty much. And so I decided that this is an opportunity for me to learn. So that's why I joined.
Great. Thank you. I'm happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay. Coach Marc is what I know him by, but I'm going to let him introduce himself as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. My name is Marc Tirolia. They call me Coach. Born and raised in Miami, Florida. I was an electrician before I started doing this entrepreneurship journey. Now I'm a business coach. I help life insurance grow their agency to $100K a month. I am an author. I am a father of 4. I am a husband. And now I'm grateful to be here with you today, James.
Thank you, man. I'm happy to have you here. You don't give yourself enough credit. You are absolutely amazing marketing person as well. I've been afforded the opportunity to work closely with you, and you've really impressed me about what you put together. Probably one of the better platforms I've seen out there for development of new soldiers. I mean, not new soldiers. I'm going back to the military, but we do want to create soldiers out here in the financial service industry. So let me ask you all a question.
Yes, sir.
Karla, why the financial service industry? Why?
Like I said, I grew up not knowing about finances, and I think it's important that everyone know what finances are and how to grow your money. And not everybody knows that. And I think it's very important that we teach people that. And that's what we do here in our company, CEO Life.
Well, one of the things I like to share with folks, I always tell folks, unfortunately, the money management and financial literacy was not something that was passed over or passed down. So we're at that place where we have to figure it out on our own. So with that being said, I often tell people that one of the things that affect every home, every household, every family, and every relationship is a lack of financial behavior and a lack of financial literacy. And money influences every aspect of your life, pretty much. Where you live, how you live, what you do, and what you're not able to do. And it also can influence the level of your stress. And it being that important, it is probably one of the most important skills and lessons I think we should learn. And this is why I'm happy to have you all here, because we're going to talk about this a little, because it's not talked about as much in our community, our church, as well as our school. I think when you change the conversation, you change the narrative, right? So, Coach, tell me, what drew you to the industry? You said you was an electrician. What about this industry that pulled you to grab the hold of you and say, come on?
Yeah, so initially, I seen a buddy of mine's life change dramatically financially. And as soon as I came in the industry, I did very well. I helped a lot of people. But then as I started transforming, I noticed that a lot of people that where I come from didn't have this information that I was delivering to people when it comes to the game. What game? Money. Money is a game. And if you don't know the rules on how to play the game, you will not be able to play. You'll be exited, or you won't be able to participate. So one of the things I'm learning on this journey, and I'm still continuing learning the game, how to play it. And in order to master the game, you need to continue learning how to take the money and make more money, make more babies. And that's some of the things that what we do at CEO Life. We're showing individuals in the communities how not to make more money, but how to use the money that they have already and how to make more out of that.
So are you meaning how to leverage that you have?
Leverage is a beautiful word. Yes.
Okay. Well, here's what I believe. I would have to agree. Okay, because I often tell people mostly everything in America comes with instruction, except two things that I know: kids and babies.
That's right.
Okay. I mean, you just have to figure those things out on your own. And one thing about what I'm learning, and you can share with me, the financial journey is a very emotional journey. And I like to talk about finances. I talk about financial readiness beyond the numbers, because of what you just talked about, that in order for you to be successful at this game here, you have to know what the system look like. You have to know what foundation, know what the framework, what the blueprint. You have to have process. And there are certain principles you should follow in order for you to win this game. I treat this game and look at this game just like any other sports in life, because finance is a game that you have to play. It's part of life. And as important it is, unfortunately, we don't have the right information. I think the biggest reason for folks having so much lack of preparation and not succeeding as well as they would like to with the finances, not because of a lack of money, but would you agree because of a lack of information?
Yeah, I definitely believe that, because, you know, money is something we use every day, and we're supposed to know how to grow it, what to do with it, right? We are supposed to teach our children how to, and we think that the schools will do it, but they don't, and that's not okay. I was going to say that's okay, but it's not okay, because it's part of what we're supposed to know as individuals, part of life. And so, yes, I do believe that money is something that I think an aspect in our lives, everyone should know how to grow it, how to use it, how to maintain it, because a lot of us don't know how to do that.
You said something key. You said sports, like football. Everyone needs a coach. Everyone needs a mentor. If you're not being taught correctly how to come up with the plan, how will you have the plan if you'll have someone that have done it before you teach you? So that's something that the community lacks. It lacks mentors. It lacks coaches. Most of the time when people get to a certain level, they forget to educate the other people. And that's some of the things that we need to go back and just, okay, you know what? We know it. We have it. We have the information. Let's bring it back and simplify it so everyone can understand how to play this game.
Definitely.
Let me ask you a question, Coach. When you look at our current economic environment and the financial condition of the middle class America, what concerns you the most?
What concerns me the most is being eliminated.
What does that mean? Here's what I like to think about when I want you to get back to that.
Yes.
I recall one time when life in our society was made more like a diamond. A diamond.
Yeah.
There's very few lower class folks.
Right.
There's a lot of middle class folks, and there's a few rich people.
Right.
Now today it's become more like a
right.
What are those the thing, the timer thing?
No, the hourglass. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Where either you have it or you don't. Middle class is disappearing. So what do you? Where do we start? What's the process? What's the charge here? What do we need to do?
We need to educate ourselves.
What does that look like? Where does it start? Where does it start?
That means get into the rooms where money is being talked about, having these conversations. Remember, as kids, it was taboo to have these discussions, to talk about money. You know, if you talk about money, I remember as a kid, I remember asking my uncle, "Hey, how much you made?" Oh, my mama looked at me like, "Oh, you." Like I disrespected him or cursed, because I was interested, because my mama always told me that my uncle was one of the wealthiest people in our family. So when he told me that, I wanted, "Hey, how much you make?" Because I want to be wealthy when I get older too. And she was like, "No, you can't do that. You can't be asking people that type of stuff." So that made me feel uncomfortable growing up, asking people or talking about money. That was a very uncomfortable conversation to have. And I think that's in our community. I thought just in my house. I remember even having this conversation on Facebook. This guy went off the wall when I talked about, hey, look, about money ideas and how to leverage money. Oh, he went off the wall. So I think when people are they need to get uncomfortable, getting comfortable talking about money. I think that's what they need to do.
Okay.
Open it up.
So you said people not getting in the right rooms,
They're
right?
not.
So, but let me ask you this question here. When it comes to money, I know you said what do you think would be the greatest investment an individual can make to increase their value to achieve and earn more income? I think I like to talk about income. So what do you think is the greatest investment an individual can make to improve their income situation, financial situation?
Well, first thing I'm gonna say is in themselves. That's the first thing. People always tell me, "Hey, look, the biggest investment I make is a house." The biggest investment you should make is within yourself.
Okay, talk about that. How have that contributed to your success?
For me, I want to get into the rooms. I want to get into the room where people have any strategies, where people are talking about the money, people are talking about the operations, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to pay to play. You have to pay to play.
Please break that down. Uncover that.
I want to pay to play because that means that there's information that's being handed out there and it's not for everyone. This is how you eliminate what's the word? People who's not serious. There's a cliche word they say, how is it saying if you pay, you pay attention. Mm-hmm. If you pay, you pay attention. So I paid over $250,000 in education when it comes to business coaching, financial literacy, and upkeeping myself, my mental and physical self.
I like to say if you pay the attention. I also like to say if you're not able to pay your bills, you definitely should be paying attention.
That's right. Absolutely.
Because I just think there are systems, and I like to talk about the foundation, the framework of foundation.
Yes.
And one of the things I talk about when it comes to the framework, when it comes to a financial foundation, is budgeting. How important do you see that component when it comes to money, Ms. Powell?
Budgeting is so important because you have to know where your money is going. If you don't, that's where the problem lies. Because we spend without paying attention to where this dollar is going, where that dollar is going, and next thing you know, we're in a hole. And so it's very important to have all of the numbers adding up to what you need it to be for your family and for your life.
What's your greatest lesson when it came to finance? What was one of your greatest lessons?
One of my greatest lessons, I would say, make sure that when you have money, you give back.
What do you mean?
For me, it means that, because I grew up in an environment that wasn't rich by any means. I was poor. Let's just say that. And so money was not accessible. And so when I thought about it and I said, you know what, when I have an opportunity to get money, I have to give back to not just my community, but to my family and to people who helped me along the way.
So, a lot of people say, generosity, and this is what you're talking about, generosity is dictated based on their season, and I think your season shouldn't dictate your generosity. A lot of folks would like to say, well, when I get more, I do better. I challenge you to start believing when you do better, you will get more. And I just say what money really does is show people who they really are. And when you think about legacy, financial legacy, and Mark, you and I, Coach Mark, we talk about this here. What's the difference between, in your opinion, the difference between financial success and financial significance?
Financial success versus financial significance. Yeah. Significance is something that you leave behind until for generations after you're gone. Mm-hmm. Financial success is what you're doing now.
Okay, I like that, but here's how. You're right. There's no wrong answer to that. But when I think about that, when I think about financial success, I think about what you accumulate for yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
When I think about financial significance, is how you impact other people's lives.
Right.
And I'm hearing what you're saying. You know, you didn't have much, but you did the best with what you had. I just think when it comes to the money game, we have to understand it just like we do any other game. You have to have a system in place. There are certain principles you have to, proven principles in practice that you have to follow. You know, let's talk about when it comes to employers now, employees, with retirement. Let's think about retirement, because I think what the definition of the American dream is for me has been, becoming wealthy, becoming rich. And I think simply for most folks, they just want to become financially independent where they can live life on their own terms. So what do you say to those individuals out there now where the ownership of their retirement is being placed on them? Because what is happening now is that the pension, the traditional pension plan has disappeared.
Yes.
So people now being responsible for their own individual retirement account. And what do you say to a person who's in that accumulation phase? What do I mean about that? People who's like between the ages of 25 and 55. What piece of advice do you give them?
I would say start digging your well before you get thirsty.
Please, I love that. Let's talk about that.
You said something earlier, budgeting. You need to, every dollar that you have, you need to, I'm gonna use your word, soldier. It need to be a soldier. You need to be able to go send your dollars out to go recruit other soldiers to come back. Budgeting is one of the most important principles that we have right now. And a lot of people are not taking advantage of it. A lot of people, some of the simple and easiest thing to do to build wealth, people are not doing it, ignoring it, because they believe they have time. And that's why you need to start doing these things and start to compound. And one of the things people don't understand, that's one of the things we teach. We teach the ninth wonder of the world, and that's interest. You either participate in the interest or you being charged the interest. So that's some of the things that we teaching right now. So I think if they start now, this is my alarm, pick up my kids. If you start now, by the time you get within age, you won't be thirsty, because you will have enough water in order to take care of you and your family.
Okay, I'm gonna put that in a box. What I heard you just say, we is that in terms of time and not taking advantage of time. Time could either be a liability or an asset. And here's what I think is one of the biggest financial risks in America, is thinking and believing we have more time than we actually do. And what that simply means, a lack of preparation when things come up when you least suspect it can cause panicking. Because I use the 4 Ps, prior planning prevents panicking, right? And we talked about budgeting. Why is it so important to establish an emergency bucket of money? Karla, I'm sorry.
I mean, it's very important. I mean, let me tell you, Social Security, I don't know if it'll be here for the next generation, much less our generation. It's important, very important, to put money away. It's very important to save for the future, your retirement. This is something we teach at CEO Life. People, when you're in your 20s, you think your whole life is ahead of you, and it is. But what people in their 20s don't think about is retirement, because, as I said, they're thinking they have 40, 50 years. But it is very important to plan, not just for retirement, to plan for your future.
Well, and I like that, because I think when you're young and you're in that accumulation phase, is what I know and believe. Like you said, it's abstract. Thinking about retirement is abstract. And then when it's time for you to go into the next phase, which is the preservation phase, because you built something, now it's time to protect it, right? And you don't want to take as many chances as you did, because in your accumulation stage, that is your momentum stage. It's what you call the big mo.
Right.
This is the time you outperform what? What is that? How the rates and things. This is when you take advantage of time, because you can afford to weather those storms, the ups and down storms. And this is an opportunity for this younger generation. I want to share this with you. We need to make sure that in this stage, this accumulation phase, that we're putting money and contributing money to what I call income producing, appreciating asset. Those are things that grows over time, not overnight. And we have to learn how to be patient, and we have to learn how to be consistent with that. And by starting early, it doesn't take as much. It's advantageous to get started early, and it's a self-imposed penalty letting time go by. But let me say this, it's never too early to get started, but it's always too late to wait. So, Coach, tell me now, you're an author.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about your book, man. I you know what? I took some time last night to read your book because I wanted, some of the things in your book really stood out. But first of all, congratulations, because it's always been one of my goals to write a book. I'm going to be honest with you. Yes. So I think it takes a lot of gut to do that, because you put in your thoughts, and you're actually being evaluated by folks when they pick up the book. It tells them what you're thinking about, right? Often tell people, you can tell who they are, what they are, by looking at their telephone, right? It tells you everything they value, what they stand for. And I'm saying this book, your book, not this book, The 8 Traps Between You and 8 Figures.
Yes, sir.
Right? Let's talk about that. The mental strategy and execution gap that separate high income from true wealth. Talk about your book, Coach.
So, how did I come up with the book? This book was written in my mind 5 years ago.
What was the motivation behind it?
The motivation, me seeing, it first started with entrepreneurs and life insurance agents. I noticed that they was working hard, but they didn't have, and they was working, they had systems. They were working hard, but there were certain invisible things that they couldn't overcome, and I call them traps. And as soon as I helped them see the traps, they was able to make the 6-7 figures. And I figured out, you know what? I thought everybody seen these traps, but because they're traps, you can't see traps. I thought it was just little small obstacle, but it was actually trapped that people didn't see that it was in. So I told myself, one day I'm gonna take it out of my head and put it in a book. And this was written 3 to 5 years ago, and I finally said, you know what, let me release it this year and get it out there, because I see too many people suffering. I see too many people working too hard, but they're not reaping the rewards for the labor and their thoughts.
What's your hope what is you hope people get from your book?
I hope somebody one day go to my kids and say, you know what? Because of your father, because of your great-grandfather, he wrote this book. My mother, my sister, my cousin was able to see the trap that they was in. And because they was able to see the traps, I was able to go to a great, amazing school and study medicine. And guess what? I was able to find a cure for cancer.
Okay. Why college should people choose to be a part of CEO Life?
Wow. I'm smiling because CEO Life, oh my goodness, CEO Life is an opportunity. It's a leadership and development company, okay? It's an agency. And I can honestly say I'm not the same person when I started close to 2 years ago. CEO Life develops individuals who want to win, right? We have the mentorship. We have the systems, and that's a big thing. We have the systems to help you to get to the next level. And so I would say CEO Life is the agency that if you really, really want to be on the level that you see yourself, then that's the agency that you want to be in. It's all about the people at CEO Life. No one is selfish. Everyone is looking at everyone else and to help them elevate to the next level. And that's why I'm there.
Well, let me ask you, Coach. First of all, it's a 2-part question. Where and who came up with the name CEO Life, and what is your long-term vision for this organization? Where did the name come from?
This came from me on my birthday, September 21st, 2019. My wife took me to Turks and Caicos, and I was on social media. I'm just looking through, and I said, you know what? I want my own IMO. I want my own company, and I wanted to be named CEO Life because I want to work with nothing but CEOs. Because I want you guys to think about it. all of us are CEOs.
Mm-hmm.
We are CEOs somewhere in our homes. We are CEOs of our own lives. And I just want to create more leaders. And I can't think of anything else that says leadership outside of just CEO. Just the word CEO gives boss. I'm independent. I'm a boss. I'm a leader, right? And life, of course, meaning that we want more life. What was the second part of the question? What was the second part?
What's your vision for
my
your
vision? My vision
for your organization?
For the organization is 100,000 agents to making over $250,000. Why $250,000? Remember, 30 years ago, making six figures was a big deal. That was okay. If you made six figures in the 80s, in the 90s, that means you had the 2-car garage, you had the 2 cars, you had the house, you had to rent, you could afford to buy a second home, a vacation home. You had the 2 kids, you had the dog and the cat, and the white picket fence. That was 30 years ago, James, Karla. Now, 100K won't give you those nice things. In order to live that type of lifestyle now, you need to be making $250,000.
Let me ask you that. Having financial success comes with the responsibility. What is your role in going back and giving back to your community? Let's talk about where you from.
Yes.
Where are you from? And tell me, what is your role? What's your contribution back to your community with the success that you're having?
Oh, yes. Great. So I'm from Miami, Florida, Little Haiti.
Mm-hmm. What high school?
Miami Jackson. Green and gold. Gold, what a green. I got a green. What a green at? No green here?
No green. You
No green here, man. Green and gold. Miami Jackson, class of 97.
Because I'm big on...
And I'm the class president,
Let me
too.
say this here. I'm huge on philanthropism.
Yes.
You know that, right? You know I am very passionate about that. So please tell me, what's your contribution back to your community that's going to,
Yes.
grow your impact?
So right now, for about 10 years, we do a back to school drive. We do the Christmas drive. We also because I was a coach. I coach at Liberty City, and we have another park. It's called Little Haiti Park, where we contribute. I'm not gonna say how much, but we contribute twice a year there, where we help struggling parents that have athletes, and you have your kids. That's a superstar, that's an athlete, right? Then you had the other kid that's a nerd, that's get all A's. What about the kids in the middle that's stuck? We donate to those people at the boys clubs where they could get the games, the iPads, and just stay busy and stay focused because they don't have the right mentorship. They don't have the skills as an athlete, and they don't have the skills as I call them nerd, the people that's getting all A's. Yeah. So we make sure that those kids stay out of trouble because usually those are the kids that drift and get into trouble. So we kind of focus on there and make sure that those kids get what they need and the parents get what they need to take care of the after-school programs, because those after-school programs used to be free. Remember when I talked about the middle class being eliminated? Those parents are not able to afford those after-school programs for their kids, and we are stepping in and making sure that we could get those kids into the after-school programs, make sure they don't drift and get in trouble.
Yeah.
I want to commend you for that, and you're absolutely right. What's your thought? How do you feel about giving back to the community beyond dollar figures? What are some other ways, based on what we do professional, how else can we give back to our community?
Man, so I'm very present because I wished I had somebody look like me. 40 years ago, ride by in a nice car and just get out and have a conversation with me and tell me that, Mark, there's ways out of this community. You don't have to sell no drugs. You don't have to be an athlete. You could be a business owner. You could be an entrepreneur. You could be an insurance agent. Do you know how you could educate the community on money and you can make money off that? If somebody jumped into a time capsule or a time machine and tell me that 40 years ago, oh, wow, you know how many people we'd have helped? So that's what I'm doing now. I'm being the person that I wish I had 40 years ago.
I like that. I often tell folks that I'm hoping to be to someone what I needed when I was their age.
Right.
So that's powerful. But, one of the things I like to do at the end, and we're coming to an end, you're not in this operation by yourself. So if you had to give flowers to someone that makes this possible because you are a spouse. You're your wife.
Yes.
Who would you give those flowers to?
My husband, number
Oh.
one. Why? Because he is very supportive. I mean, he sees me doing the hours, doing the work, and he sees the vision that I see as well. And that's important to me. I mean, when we sit there and we have conversations, we talk about what's the future going to be like for us, because we're approaching retirement. I may not look it, but we're approaching retirement. So it's important for us to sit and talk about that. So he's my biggest supporter. So I would give him all the flowers.
Well, listen, we're coming to an end. I want to thank you both for joining me. This was an amazing conversation. It's like being around the kitchen table, right?
Yes.
So, I like to end my show with giving people flowers. I give you both flowers, but I definitely give you flowers as well, Coach, because you're doing an amazing job. And I mean that
Definitely.
sincerely. I
Thank
want you to
you.
know
Most
that.
definitely.
But I always like to leave it with everybody knowing that you have the power of your past based on the decisions you make will determine what direction your life goes. So thank you again for joining us. We look forward to talking to you on the next episode.